Hello, I'm Leigh-Chantelle from VivaLaVegan.net and I'm here today at the Let Live conference in Portland, Oregon as part of my US adventures. And today I'm here with Christopher Greenslate and we're just going to talk a bit about why he's a vegan and a book that he's released with his partner. And yeah, Christopher, why did you become a vegan?
I became a vegan in high school because I went to concerts and some of the bands that I really liked, they had literature at their tables, and so over the course of a couple of years, I picked up that literature frequently and read it and mulled it over. And I'd always had a love for animals. I wanted to be a veterinarian when I was a kid, and so when I saw what was happening to animals on factory farms or confined animal feeding operations, I was horrified, and I couldn't reconcile the animals I was eating as kind of insignificant when the animals at my house I really loved. So I had to open up my circle of compassion so I could bring other animals into the fold for obvious reasons.
Yeah, that's great. A lot of people don't get that connection, do they? Like, they love their companion animals, and then as soon as they, chomp into a steak or something, they don't get that connection. So it's great you did it at such an early age.
Yeah, no, I think that, especially with teenagers, you're at a point in your life where you really want to, you have this sense of fairness intact still that hasn't been corrupted, and you really want to help and you want to make a difference, and so that's why.
Yeah, exactly. And what were the bands that you saw?
I think the first one I remember is a band called Good Riddance. A band from Santa Cruz, California. And there were other bands that I knew where the singers are vegan. AFI, David Havoc was vegan, and I was doing booking shows at one point, so I had a lot of conversations with people I respected. This is the late '90s, so no one was a rock star yet. So it was really great to have.
Nice and raw.
It was really nice to have like an unfettered kind of not self-conscious conversation with someone who's older and has been vegan for a while. It was really helpful.
That's cool. And you've released a book with your partner. What's your partner's name?
Her name's Carrie Leonard. We're both school teachers. We teach social justice in Southern California. And we did this really kind of silly project where we thought, we were complaining about our grocery bills, or Carrie was complaining, and I said, well, there's about 1 billion people who live on $1 a day, not just eat on $1 a day, so I decided, and I said, well, we could try that. And I was kind of joking, pointing out that we have this privilege and we have nothing to complain about, really. And so she gave me this look like, oh, that's ridiculous, but the idea never went away. Like, we really kept thinking about it for months after that, and so, then in September of 2008, we just said, oh, let's try it, let's see if we can do it, and so we did.
And you kept a blog about it, didn't
you? We started blogging so our friends and family could kind of follow along, because, they're interested in what we're doing.
And what's the website?
It started as $1dietproject.com, and we, blogged every day, and then, through the workings of the internet and people sharing it with each other, it ended up getting in some kind of like online magazines, and then 2 months after it ended, the New York Times called us, and then once that article ran on election day here, there was, all kinds of people were calling, so book publishers and agents and Oprah and all these television shows, and it was really kind of bizarre. But
just like this little idea that you have.
And then we only shared with the people we knew, and that it just kind of blew up, and it was right as the economy was really collapsing, and so people were really concerned about money and concerned about how they were going to feed their families, and so the timing was really coincidental, but it was really perfect. So. And so then we did these other projects afterwards, and it was released, the book was released, it documents all those projects in February on Hyperion Books. And
it's a $1 a day project, is that
it's called On $1 a Day, One Couple's Unlikely Adventures in Eating in America.
The blog's great, I've had a look through the blog, so the book would be cool.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, when we started writing it, I'm a much more academic thinker, and so I started, doing all this research and citing all my research, and our editor, whose book before ours was Michael J. Fox's new book. And so she helped really direct us and coach us, and was like, no, you're writing for a mainstream audience. You're writing for moms who are picking up their kids after school. Like, that's your audience, and so that was really helpful to kind of reach out to those folks and not just talk about like food in economics, but it gave us a chance to talk to them about justice issues, animal issues, environmental issues, so worker issues, and so it was really great to be able to do that in a way that doesn't feel like you're being lectured, right? And it doesn't feel like you're doing homework. It's just something you can
it easily digested.
Yeah, so you can just read it and enjoy it, and you know, but it makes you think anyways.
Definitely. And you said that you and your partner both do social justice teaching, so what does that entail? What do you do with that?
Sure, when I became a public school teacher, I really wanted to bring my passion for activism to my students, and that's difficult to do in kind of the general education classes, like English class or history class. I think it can be done, it's just a little harder because there's written standards that you have to follow, and so I created a social justice program in our school district, and that's what it was. It was basically training kids to be activists and to learn about these issues and to have really important conversations about critical issues and to help them think.
Ask questions and think outside of the square.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it went off really well. It was really popular. Kids loved it, and so the district adopted it full time. And so even though Carrie and I aren't at the same school, she was able to start it there. And so in 5 years, it's grown from one school to 2 schools, and we've had enormous kind of action happen because of it. It's really been a catalyst for all kinds of great things.
And what sort of age are the kids?
They're high school kids.
High school kids. So they're
14,
more open.
Yeah, 14 to 18. They're really open, but they're also really on their toes about everything. You can't just tell them something is good. They really do most of the investigation on their own, and then we have a conversation. It's a really great conversation.
And another thing, I was speaking to you about your little pendant.
Oh, sure.
Tell me about that.
This actually comes from the social justice class. In that one of my students came to me and she was wearing this whistle, and I said, "What is this whistle that you're wearing?" And she explained it to me. She said, "Well, we had talked a lot about child soldier issues earlier in the year, and she said that there's these kids in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and they're about 5 to 8 years old. They aren't old enough or big enough to carry weapons yet, but they're kind of kidnapped or recruited into the military and like rebel armies, and because they can't hold a weapon, what they do is the leaders of these armies give them a whistle, and they have them kind of stand in the front lines of their territory in the mountains that they're trying to occupy. And when other forces come in, state governments or whatever come in to try and rat out the rebels, these kids have these whistles and they're supposed to blow them to let their superiors know that they're coming. And once they do that, these kids also act as kind of the first shield for the first round of bullets.
And they wouldn't have any guns or any
No. All they have is this whistle. Yeah,
it's atrocious.
Yeah, so the idea is that you wear this whistle. It's a campaign called Falling Whistles, and so you wear this whistle so people ask you about it, and you can tell them that story because it's a powerful vehicle to let people know about an issue. And so I don't go around saying, "You know what this whistle's for?" Right? But I wear it, and people go, "Why are you wearing a whistle?" It's really strange.
Cool. And so, it's great to get the interaction with people when people are asking you questions about something that you're really passionate about.
Yeah, so a student brought it, and then I asked about it, and then as a class we decided that we had some funds, and our school won't let us just donate money to nonprofits, and schools are nonprofits, so we said, okay, that's fine. So we just ordered a class set of whistles, and so we were able to kind of funnel about $2,000 right into Falling Whistles, and that money will help rehabilitate the kids who have been able to escape through education, art programs, and other things.
So Falling Whistle, can you have a look online for more info?
Yeah, I think you go to fallingwhistles.com. They're based out of Southern California, but they have an international audience and an international reach, and they can't necessarily release the details of the schools that are helping the children that they've kind of stolen back, because it's a security risk. It's a security risk, but there's all kinds of documentation there that they're above board and a worthy organization. So.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Christopher, for taking the time out to speak to us today. And it was great to see someone that's really passionate about social justice and veganism and all the work that you're doing. It's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And to see more interviews, check out vivalavegan.net.